All right, everyone. We all know that the tech world tends to be dominated by male individuals and largely white and Asian individuals, about an even share of both. That's tech, but like 85% of tech. Some people think that this is a problem. They don't look at it as, hey, those individuals are simply the most likely to go into the kinds of fields that are going to, A, get them interested in, and B, qualify for a position in tech, in coding, etc. If you have females, they are less likely to be encouraged to go into such a field. As recently as like the 2010s, so not that long ago, it's not really as much of a thing now. When somebody sits at home programming on their computer, they're a geek, they're a nerd. They're not going to get a date unless they go full Bill Gates. Then they have coke orgies, apparently, at Epstein's Island. It was considered to be uncool. You're a geek, basically. Men got into it far more. Because you don't want your daughter to be a nerdy space cadet and be unmarriageable now, do you? I hate to say it, but misogyny does play a role in that particular sense. You don't want her getting into tech. You'd rather her work a respectable job, like being a doctor or something. By the way, women are overrepresented now in medicine. So I don't see anyone saying that there are too many females in medicine or too many men working on oil rigs. But I do notice that now they're going after tech. So Learn to Code is now outreach for diversity and inclusion. Here's the application that they have in mind, and it's not a good one. It's a little bit like trying to diversify the workforce at a nuclear arms facility. You probably don't want to do that. You probably want to have it just be meritocratic because of the potential that if something goes wrong, it is catastrophically wrong. It's not like, hey, we decided to wokeify, the teachers in our school. Okay, well, half of them suck anyway, so it doesn't really matter what color skin they have when they suck, because it's a unionized job. So naturally, you get more sucky people in the position that you can never fire. You get a lot of leaf litter in there, but in a nuclear power plant or in medicine, so for instance, someone doing brain surgery, you want it to be merit-based. Designing artificial intelligence, considering the possibility of a major overhaul to large segments of the world economy, and I do think that's likely, both for better and for worse, by the way. It'll eliminate some jobs while creating others. We've seen this before. It's not going to be Armageddon, but it could be misused mostly by state actors. And so naturally, I don't like the idea of saying, well, we just artificially, we need to make sure AI is being developed by more people of color, which is basically the modernized version of colored people. I personally would find that offensive if I were black or Hispanic or something, but the Democrats love the term for some unknown reason. I guess BIPOC is taking over now because, again, a person from Ghana and a person from Indonesia look exactly the same to Elizabeth Warren. And yet other people are the racist ones, of course. I don't think that diversity is great in a situation. So if it's something that's less meaningful, again, it's, you've got a factory that makes crayons or something. It doesn't really matter. If something does fuck up, well, the factory might be flooded with hot wax, I suppose, but it's not going to cause any major national problem. Because you decided to diversify, so you have people that are less qualified that are there specifically due to affirmative action hiring. It's fine. Nobody cares. I don't care either. But something significant, again, AI is in its infancy right now. It's not nearly fully developed into anything resembling a modern form, and it's already overhauling the way that millions of people do their work. It's similar, in my opinion, to the rise of dot-coms, the rise of social media, the rise of crypto, actually. And it will and again, those have had disparate impacts. Crypto has changed the way that many things are done and sparked a lot of debates and gone up into bull territory and down into bear territory over and over again. I'm still waiting for the bulls to come back, by the way. I'm still holding on for dear life. I've still got Bitcoin. But it had less of an impact, at least thus far, than social media. Or the rise of smartphone usage in general. The Internet of Everything being available through a million apps, I would say, is a counterpart to that, tied with social media mainly. The rise of dot-coms drastically changed the face of society. The rise of the use of personal computing in general. I was there for that back in the 1990s. When you go into the 90s, the way that things worked, completely different from the way things worked by 2000. a total change. And by the way, the subsequent decade saw even more change. It's still picking up pace now for the 2010s. In the 2020s, we're 3 years in. Are things remotely the same in many technological senses as they were in 2020, unless you're in like a small town or something somewhere? No, they've fundamentally, it's been a sea change. You don't want something that's going to create that much change in society not to be a meritocratic system. And their thing will be like, well, if too many white males are the ones designing AI, it's going to the AI itself will lack diversity. Well, no, not necessarily. And number two, really, who cares? Do you have a problem with white men? I'm asking a rhetorical question. They do, and that's the whole point. They want it to reflect opinions politically, socially, subcultural enclaves that are outside of that whiteness because they have a problem with white people at this point. They're not shy about it anymore. It used to be really low-key. Like 10 years ago, it'd be more like, we need to address the history of colonialism. You should probably apologize for the whole slavery thing, stuff like that. But now it's more like, hey, we need to address why it would be great if white people went extinct. I hate to tell you, but those aren't hyperbolic headlines anymore. What was once a satire of the woke left has become the real woke left in some cases. Not in all cases. But when I see a white hipster who's saying that they feel guilty for being white and they wish that there were no white people, and it's like, okay, well, there are ways for you to accomplish that on your end. I notice that you're not doing it. You're just you're trying to get a date. It's leftoidism is a sausage fest, so I think there's a reason that it's tied in with the LGBTQ community. Everyone's got to get some sometime. Making AI woke is I'm being facetious with some of this. But it's a serious story. Maybe I should be a little bit more serious. Yeah, considering the fact that you have a rise of the Terminator or something like that, Skynet. AI, if used improperly, will have a drastically negative effect upon the world. If it's used properly, that is, if we keep the state out of it, if we do not allow them to fearmonger us into allowing them to create a corporate monopoly over AI so that the same donor class fools that have already been fucking with us for decades are the ones controlling all the AI by default, if we can prevent that and allow the free market to do it, you will have more merit. You don't need to worry about diversity. It'll just be private individuals using their own time and productivity developing things. This is sort of how the dot-com era worked. It didn't destroy society, it helped society. The more the government gets preemptively involved, the worse it is. The government is the only reason right now that crypto isn't used by twice as many people. The government's the reason right now why heavily censored foreign competitors to U.S. social media are beginning to thrive, groups like TikTok, because they force the domestic ones to do the same thing, so it's like people don't even care. You ended up exporting the internet. I can, under Obama. Oh, yeah. Government is not your friend with regards to these things. Attempting to inject DEI into the development of artificial intelligence is a terrible, terrible idea. That's about all. Peace out.